As you watch this video, your first impression of me and my reaction might be, oh, he's just another guy who, like so many others, is harping on and blasting and ripping into anything and everything that Disney is doing with Star Wars. Let me make a point, which will be the first of many. I liked Book of Boba Fett. I liked Ahsoka. I really liked Obi-Wan Kenobi. I really liked Mandalorian. I loved Andor. So, I am not someone who bashes anything and everything that Disney does. But that does not change the fact that my gut reaction while watching The Acolyte can best be summed up by, what the So friends and neighbors, here's the thing. I consider myself to be an easy critic. Alright. Very, 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 very rarely do I think that something is god-awful, irredeemable. Alright, whether it's a movie or a TV show. Even a show or a movie that generally has a bad reputation or a bad reaction or whatever, even then I can usually find one or two things redeemable about it. Such is the case with The Acolyte. I'm going to be honest. Alright? There are some things about The Acolyte that I don't think are bad. One thing about The Acolyte that I will say is that the basic plot of it, alright, not getting into specifics, but just the basic plot thread about someone feeling that the Jedi did them wrong and they're going out for revenge and they're delving into the dark side to do it. It's okay. I think the basic plot of Acolyte is okay. It's nothing groundbreaking, don't get me wrong, for a Star Wars project, but the basic plot's alright. The problems that I have with The Acolyte have nothing to do with the people or the types of people who are making it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I will leave that for other channels and other reviewers to hash out. Okay? The problem I have with The Acolyte is how they're doing it. I'm not going to go recap every episode. Alright, I'm going to talk about every episode one by one, but I'm not going to rehash the plot of it. All that being said, needless to say, severe spoiler warning if you have not watched the first 5 episodes of Acolyte. As of the filming of this video, there have been 5 episodes released. I think there are 3 more to go. Massive spoiler warning. Okay? So the first episode, right off the bat, we have our antagonist facing off against a Master Jedi who delivers, our antagonist delivers the line, I can't think of the exact line, attack me with all your strength, or something like that. The first thing I thought of when I heard that was somebody's been watching Kill Bill too many times. And it kind of took me out of it a little bit. You know, it's I don't know, something about it just rubbed me the wrong way. Carrie Ann Moss plays the Jedi Master in this scene. She gets killed off before the opening titles. Never mind the fact that the fight plays like we shift from Kill Bill to The Matrix. Although to be fair, the Matrix riff might have been because it was Carrie Ann Moss, but they waste her. They kill her off before the opening credits. Fairly easily, I might add, for a Jedi Master to get killed. There's another line that's delivered in that scene. Again, I forget the exact quote. Jedi don't draw their lightsabers unless they intend to kill. Like what? Again, right away, first thing, tell that to Zam Wessel in Attack of the Clones. Obi-Wan draws his saber, cuts her hand off, but doesn't kill her. Little contradictory there that I couldn't get by. The episode shifts on. We meet Osha, who... The person we see at the beginning is May. We have Osha, her twin sister. And a couple of Jedi show up to arrest Osha solely on the word of one eyewitness. Now... the fact that the Jedi seem to take this seriously based on one eyewitness and they don't do any investigating, did anybody else see this, or, never mind the fact that Osha's got an alibi, she gets arrested anyways. I don't know, I find it a little off-putting that the Jedi just accepted one eyewitness and without bothering to find out where Osha was, they just go ahead and, yep, you did it, come on. There is one character that's introduced, Saul, who's, I don't know the actor's name, he's Asian. I've heard that going into this, he took a crash course in English for about 4 or 5 months or so to learn the language for the part. He learned very well, I will say that. I don't have a problem with the character. But they couldn't pick a different name. And I will explain why. They're like, the Jedi, some type of Jedi Council. I don't know if it's the High Council. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's the High Council at all. They're like, okay, we got to investigate this. Get Saul. And all I could think of was, there's been a murder. Better call Saul. It was just, I don't know. It's just something that stuck in my head, and I don't know. And then they had this one character, this Jedi Knight, whose name is Yord, which I had to double check the name. Saul and his Padawan, I forget her name, walks into Yard's yard, almost calls him Yard. Again, what's up with the names? They walk into Yard's room and they find him doing laundry. Specifically, he's steam ironing, getting the wrinkles out of his tunic or his robe or whatever. And he's all, no shirt, I'm surprised he wasn't doing a pec flex because, the guy is, pretty in shape. But I'm like, why? Why do we need that shot? They could have walked into the room and see him doing, something else, anything. But they wanted to show him off. I don't know. It just... Do you see what I mean when I'm saying that it's how they're doing the show that I'm having a problem with? And I will admit these are little things. They are little quibbles. The problem is I have a lot of little quibbles. All right? We get to part 2. May does her Kill Bill attack me thing again against this one Jedi who apparently has been in a force field for 10 years, a self-imposed force field, which is, I guess, the equivalent of a Jedi vow of silence. They say that he's been like that for the last 10 years. For someone who apparently hasn't had anything to eat or hasn't had anything to drink, I would assume, because they say he's been like that for 10 years, the guy looks not... You would think a guy who hasn't had anything to eat or drink looks like death warmed over. Granted, the guy doesn't look that great, but, you know, he seems fairly with it. The security system on that Jedi temple is severely lacking, because not only is May able to break in once, she's able to break in a second time to give this Jedi Master a poison, and she guilt trips him into drinking it. It's not the fact that she guilt trips him into drinking it that I have a problem with. The problem I have with it is a plot point. If he was that eager to drink the poison and kill himself because he feels that guilty, why didn't he just... he had to have sensed her. So why didn't he just, you know, let that force field drop and say, you know what, finish me. I can't live with the guilt. Why the whole plot thing about the poison? I don't know. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Another minor quibble, there is a Jedi in that temple who... I won't call him out of shape, but he does not look like what a Jedi probably should be from a physical standpoint. The reason I say that is because we saw it in Empire Strikes Back. Luke goes through a very intense physical training, not just to train the mind, but to train the body as well. I would presume that because you have to get into shape, some kind of shape, because using the Force for extended periods of time, this is my opinion, by the way, this is my take on it, it is a strain on your body. So you would have to be in shape. This guy looks like, not overweight, but he's not skinny either. He looks more like an average Joe, to be quite honest. Not someone I would picture as a Jedi, based on the standards of what has come before. Just my take on it. There is a decent fight between Saul and May. May finds out that, you know, her sister's alive. I didn't have a problem. Didn't really have a problem too much with any of that. Part 3. Part 3. All right. The whole thing about the Covenant of Witches, didn't have a problem with that because we've seen, you know, the Night Sisters, Dathomir. You know, my first exposure to the Night Sisters and Dathomir was in the Star Wars novel, Courtship of Princess Leia. That's Legends now. But we've had the Night Sisters and Dathomir in the main canon, you know, between Clone Wars and, of course, Ahsoka. So the idea of a Covenant of Witches, I didn't have a problem with. Having the point of view from the witches about the two kids, the twins, being taken away, and their reaction to that the Jedi are just a bunch of kidnappers, I didn't have a problem with that either. Okay? I kind of like seeing that flip side of it, because we know that the Jedi take younglings from their homes at a very young age. It was a way to see the reaction of what goes on in the home, the fear about losing the kids. So I didn't have a problem with that. The idea of the Jedi, of the witches feeling persecuted by the Jedi, the first thing that popped in my mind on that was, you know, the Salem witches and the persecution against them. Didn't have a problem with that. But then, I think it was the leader who delivered the line, and I wrote it down because I wanted to get the quote right. The galaxy is not a place that welcomes women like us. That... I know social commentary isn't a stranger to Star Wars, or that Star Wars isn't a stranger to social commentary. That came across to me as a little bit heavy-handed, to be that direct. I don't know. It's just me. All right. Again, I'm not going to get into what other people get into. All right. Other than to say, it just felt a little bit anvilicious, to quote the trope. It was not subtle. If they had said something like, you know, the galaxy fears people like us, you could say that one of two ways. You could have the commentary, or you could say maybe they're just referring to the witches in general. Be ambiguous about it. All right, but to just have it smack dab in your face, you know, bam, like that. I don't know. It was just a little off-putting. I don't know. Knee-jerk reaction to it. That's all. Part 4 is where things start to improve a little bit. There was one quote that, again, I wrote it down. It was the Padawan, whose name I forget, talking to Osha. And she had a line that was, from the point of view of a Jedi, it was almost like a lesson and not a bad mindset in general. We are not defined by what we lose. We are defined by what we survive. I kind of like that. I'm going to admit, props to whoever wrote that line. Okay, because it does fit to some degree to me the Jedi ideology. And in general, it's not a bad mindset. Probably from the point of view of what I've been through the last few years. I've been through a lot as far as personal loss and, you know, struggle, whatever. I like the line. Okay. But even part 4, there are some things like the Wookiee Jedi is completely wasted. You have the opportunity to see, never mind the fact that Carrie-Ann Moss is wasted, never mind the fact that the Jedi in the Force field, we don't see him, what he's capable of. You have the chance to show a Wookiee Jedi in live action. Why don't you take it? You know? We don't see anything with him. Yord, I found annoying, some of his behavior in this episode. For one thing, when they're on the way to the planet where the Wookiee Jedi is hiding out, it's a small squad of Jedi, and it's Yord doing the briefing. Yord's only a knight. Saul, who is on the expedition, he's a master. Why isn't he doing the briefing? Being the higher ranking Jedi. That just didn't make sense to me. Another thing about Yord I find annoying. I found Yord annoying in general. I'm not even going to get into the Killmonger haircut. You know, they have Osha dress up in the civilian robe, as they call it, to mark her as a civilian. And of course, Yord, even though he only became a knight like a couple of years ago, not that long ago, he's already all up in himself. You know, he's like, civilian, you will follow us. Come on. And it's already established that he knows her from the days as a Padawan. If he didn't know her at all, it would be a little less annoying, but this is someone that you grew up with for a time, and you're going to act like that? You know, all I could think of was, you know, Mace referring to Ahsoka as citizen. You know, like, Then we come to part 5. Now, I will say right now, it is the best episode of the series so far. I was into it because we get some serious lightsaber action. And we finally see what this evil Jedi is about. I know some reviewers are harping on the identity of the evil Jedi. Whatever. That didn't bother me. I felt that once the evil Jedi, the evil, Force user, whatever, identified himself with the helmet off, I was into it. The way the character was acting, it was very sinister, very scenery chewing, very flamboyant. Palpatine would be proud. Okay, Sidious would be proud. I was into it. You know, the lightsaber fighting, again, the way he skewers one Jedi, uses the Force to call another Jedi, and shish kebabs the two of them, it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. The thing about this Jedi, this evil Jedi, is the helmet. It's got a glass cover in. That was a little off-putting to me. Some people are calling him Smilo Ren. All I could think of was Darth Gwynplaine. It was just, and it's not even what the helmet is made out of. It's made out of this metal called cortosis, which, for one thing, if it's like Beskar, it can block a lightsaber strike, only the lightsaber coming into contact with it, it ends up getting shorted out for a brief period of time. And the metal, something in the metal also shields the wearer from a Jedi mind probe. Cortosis made its appearance, it's already appeared in Star Wars before. So it's not like it's something that the writers pulled out of nowhere, you know. So I didn't have a problem with that. It was just the look of the helmet with that grin. That might be my thumbnail. I don't know. I'll have to mull that over. The big thing that I had a problem with this episode, it didn't even hit me until afterward. That's how cool the lightsaber fighting was. This didn't hit me until afterward. This Dark Jedi flat out says, he reveals himself to be a Sith. He calls himself a Sith. And he wants an acolyte. Rule of 2 in effect. But here's the thing. In Phantom Menace, it is flat out said the Sith, as far as the Jedi knows, have been extinct for a millennium. They've been in hiding. You know, the Sith have not been extinct, but they've been in hiding. They haven't revealed themselves. Darth Maul says, finally we'll reveal ourselves. Millennium. A millennium is 1,000 years. This show takes place maybe 100 years before the events, around 100 years before Phantom Menace, is my understanding. And this guy calls himself a Sith. It's contradictory to the, not even the Disney canon. You're contradicting the Lucas canon. Have the writers, were the writers not aware of this? Or did they not care? Because if I'm noticing this, and I'm just an average schlub on YouTube, I'm sure other people have noticed this. They've had to. And for bonus points, who delivers that line in Phantom Menace? Ki-Adi-Mundi, who has a cameo in Part 4 that, frankly, I don't see the point of. But I think they just threw him in there to throw him in there. I don't know. I'm going to watch the remaining episodes. I'm not going to blow them off. I will watch them. I'll complete the journey. I'll finish the story, watch the saga, whatever. Maybe the second half of this show will be better than the first. Who knows? Maybe Part 5, the only reason Part 5 was so good was because of the saber action. Who knows? Again, like I said, I consider myself an easy critic. Like I said at the beginning of the video, a lot of what Disney has done that I have watched, I've enjoyed. I will admit that I've only watched one season of Bad Batch, so I'm not going to comment on how good or bad that show is. I haven't watched the other 2 seasons. But this is the first Disney project, even with Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9. I've come out and said on my channel and on other people's channels, Rise of Skywalker left me underwhelmed. I didn't hate it, it just left me underwhelmed. But even that show, even that movie, even with the line, somehow Palpatine returned, I can dismiss that because I don't expect Poe to know how Palpatine returned. Okay, I can look past that. Rise of Skywalker left me underwhelmed, but it has not triggered me like ACOLYTE has. You don't see me making a video about Rise of Skywalker, do you? But no, I'm making a video on this. I'll finish the show. But, man, I can see why everyone feels this show is so divisive. Because from the plot elements alone, I'm like, what? Why? But if you've watched the entire video, I thank you. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell me what you think about ACOLYTE. Yeah, that'll be it. Until next video, as always, friends and neighbors, please be good, be well, be safe, be happy.